One of the governor's biggest budget priorities this year is universal child care. Is that something that you support? A lot of families in the Adirondacks struggling to find both affordable and adequate child care. In many cases, is it preventing parents from being able to work?
Yeah, in many cases it's that, and it's also affecting their quality of life, what they can afford. I've talked to friends of mine that had family members who were paying $5,000 a month for 2 children. And I just can't even fathom, that's how much has changed from the time when I raised my kids. I think we were $100 a week for someone to come in and stay with our kids. And my wife and I both were able to have a career and participate, and that's contributing to the workforce shortage. So I do support it. It's a very expensive program, and it also, it presents some challenges of, how we're going to manage this, because a one-size-fits-all program, how it works in the North Country may be far different than how it works in New York City. Mm-hmm. So, with all these, we're always looking for the unintended issues.
And it seems to be New York City centric, at least for now.
Right.
Does more need to be done here in the North Country and in more rural areas?
Yeah, I think recognizing that we have a unique situation, we don't have the numbers to sometimes make this work, even with the funding. And some of the regulations are very burdensome and hard for anyone to desire to want to take a chance and start a facility. So I've visited many of them that are providing great service within their home, and only to be subject to really laws that were intended for situations that may be in a higher populated area. It doesn't recognize the uniqueness of rural upstate New York.
With the Milan Cortina Olympics just this past month, there seems to be renewed interest in talk about New York State bidding to host another Winter Olympics. And much like in Italy, with the games held both in Milan and Cortina and some of the other surrounding cities, several hours and hundreds of miles apart, many are pushing for New York City and Lake Placid to team up to host the Winter Games, either in 2038 or 2042. Some of the events happening right in and around the towns in your district, around the 114th. Have you weighed in on this? Do you think this is something that New York ought to be getting on board and moving ahead with a bid?
I think, I know Assemblyman Bobby Carroll, this is one of his big pushes, and I've had a lot of conversations with him, and I think the concept is great. I think it would be wonderful. I would love to attend an Olympics event here in the Adirondacks. I wasn't here in 1980, or I didn't attend the Olympics in 1980, but I vividly remember, and it would be a great thing to see happen. I think the logistics and the concern for communities and how it's going to impact communities. I mean, we're a rural area, and a lot's changed since 1980. There were a lot of issues that came up in 1980. My grandfather was a state trooper who worked the highways during that period.
And the snarled traffic. And some of that would still be the transportation issue, the cellular service. There are still a number of issues that would have to be
absolutely
addressed.
Even our infrastructure, our roads and highways, and they've taken a hit in many years. We have not put any money into our infrastructure, our critical infrastructure, roads, culverts, and bridges. The list of bridges that are deficient is rising. Our road conditions are getting worse.
So hundreds of millions have gone into the Olympic facilities, but you're saying that you'd have to, at the same time, look at the infrastructure.
Absolutely.
You would like the state to offer a customized license plate that celebrates the Adirondacks. There is one for the North Country, but not specifically for the Adirondacks.
Right.
You'd like to see that become a reality.
Absolutely. It was a constituent contact that actually suggested that, and we just thought that was a great way to expose the Adirondacks in an easy way, an optional way. Somebody could do this. It's not a mandate. But I know as a resident of the Adirondack Park, I'd love to have that plate.
Motorists would pay an extra fee probably
Yeah.
and get a customized plate. Any idea what you would suggest, or would you have a number of different options?
Yeah, I think the wonderful thing about New York State is we're a diverse state. And I think we need to take every opportunity we can to expose everyone else to what we have here, because I do think there's a reason why we're called the Empire State, and we have the Adirondack region, and really I don't represent the other regions of the state as an assembly member, but I would think that they would want to maybe promote the Seaway, or the Thousand Islands, or Long Island. I mean, it's a wonderful state. So this is a way that we can identify the Adirondacks.
So what happens with that now? How do you move that forward?
Well, I'm hoping that my colleagues see the wisdom in this, and we all get together. It's a non-controversial issue, and maybe DMV will just pick this up and make it an option.
Matt Simpson, thank you as always for taking
Thank
the time
you.
to be with us.
Appreciate
We
it.
appreciate
It's
it.
great to be here.